I love that intro so much. It makes my whole heart happy. You flashing the camera. I love it. I love it. And I've missed you.
I know it's been too long. It's been too long.
I'm pretty sure it's been at least 2 years since we've done a spicy tea episode, and
I
that's
know.
2 years too long.
Totally, totally.
Okay, so give a little intro of what your stuff is for anybody who isn't aware of who you are, and shame on you. So follow Sarah Beth, but take it away, baby.
Sure. I'm certainly on the Twitters, but most of my video content is on Instagram. And I really focus on there's 7 roles that women usually try to balance. How do you shape through the different roles? And I started over at 40, and now I'm living an exceptional life, and I want you to too. I want all the women to be exceptional. So that's where I am.
That. I love that. And talk a little bit, because I think this is a really important differentiation. Talk a little bit about who your people are, who your ideal followers audience is.
That great question. So my ideal persona of who I relate to is corporate women who are trying to balance it all. People who are probably over 40 and potentially divorced. Not that it's just for people who are divorced, but that's my story, and that's where I relate to most. And that's why the whole reason I created the 7 roles framework is because I wanted to be more. I wanted to be exceptional and not forget anything. And that's and now I'm living an unbelievable, exceptional life with an exceptional husband. And so I want others to have that same happiness.
I love that. And you're really excellent at it. You're really excellent at it. And from what I'm understanding, you're also really excellent at blowjobs, which is what we're going to focus on today. Because spicy tea is never just neutral or boring.
Not at all. And this is a skill you don't just get good at overnight. Like exactly. You've got to practice, and it's not just a one-way practice. Guys got to do their thing too. They got to give you some feedback.
So, okay, before we jump into, because we've got some really good stuff to kind of respond to and dig into, what was your blowjob giving evolution? How did that work? Your education, your personal education.
I would say it was late in life. Right? I didn't do that early. It was very overwhelming early on when I was younger. I thought it was very overwhelming, so much pressure. And then the older you get, you start to get to a point forget it. I'm just going to have the hard conversation. What's good? What's not good? So my exceptional husband now and I had in-depth conversation, almost like a, replay after the act to be okay, so how'd I do? 5-star review? How could I do this better?
I love that.
During I get he's not quiet. He's not just, sitting there enjoying. He's saying something like that's good or, whatever. And I think that what I didn't realize was why they like it. Because it's not just, you have to create friction. You have to create the feeling of basically vaginal sex. You're doing oral sex, but it's more the feeling of that. And you can, with your mouth, you can make it tighter. And anyways, there's more friction.
So maybe more like anal sex.
Yeah, that's really advanced. Wow. That escalated quickly. But
listen, that's just how we roll.
That is how we roll. But it was the conversation that we had. And because I trust him so much, when he tells me, I know that he's telling me because he wants it to get better, for our relationship to get closer. I don't feel attacked. I don't feel, and the way he says it is not you did something wrong. It was, this could be better, or I really liked this. So definitely a conversation, but I trust him. I don't feel attacked. And I think that's a balance that not everybody gets.
I think that's really fair. And similar to my experience, where only mine was, back when in the early years of my marriage. And it was just kind of don't be afraid to do this. And I'm like, really? It just seems like such a sensitive area. And he's like, yeah, don't be afraid to, to actually touch those things or do this or hold things a certain way. And I was like, okay, all right, we can do this.
And
But
it's intimidating. It's intimidating.
it is. We don't have those parts.
No, not at all. And the cleanliness, I think that some women, the women friends that I've talked to will say, yeah, but it's dirty or it doesn't smell good or there's too much hair or what. I'm like, fair. That's fair. That is very difficult feedback to give to your husband.
Yeah.
I've never had to do that.
Yeah.
But that's a difficult conversation to have. So men and women need to take accountability for their roles in the app.
think of oral sex from both sides. Like if you have spontaneous oral sex at mid or late in the day and you haven't freshly showered or it's gonna be a little bit musky down there. There's some things that have happened over the course of the day, possibly, I mean, that's a lot to overcome from both sides. You just, when you see it coming, you go and you clean yourself up a little bit.
You clean yourself up. Yeah. A little refresh goes a long way.
There's nothing wrong with saying, this sounds great. Let's take a 2-minute pause. Keep that thought in mind. I'll be right back.
Yes. I think that is totally acceptable.
I love it. Okay, so so let's talk about blowjobs.
Okay.
Let's just jump in. Because sexual satisfaction is one of our favorite topics. Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of an overview because this is a lot to read, and we're not going to just read them. But I've got the bigger screen. So, wife hates blowjobs after only 1 month of marriage, and this is, first of all, what gets me with that is I want to say, so before marriage, did she really like him or whatever? Okay. So my new wife of a month hates blowjobs now that she doesn't have to do it. So that's where I'm confused. At first, their foreplay interaction was her giving like this insane blowjob and made him so happy and all this stuff. But now it's kind of like the oh, thank God we're married. Now I don't have to diet anymore. It kind of feels like that kind of response where she just doesn't like it, and she did it and to get to this point, and now he's pretty bummed about this new revelation.
I don't get this at all.
I know.
Like, I don't know why something would stop. Like it should, and it says in here that she's sexually inexperienced. But obviously she was giving blowjobs before marriage. I mean, if it's just one after, and you should be having the conversation of expectations that's going to happen during marriage. Like, this is going to continue. Like sex is very important to me. This is 3 times a week or, whatever, if you have to put a number on it, fine. But this is just, I don't, and I hate to keep saying, I don't understand. I can't imagine building that into our relationship and that trust and that's your playground. Like your bedroom is your playground where you get to be like, I'm not a mom, I'm not a dad, I'm not at corporate, I'm not blah. I'm just here with you and we're going to have fun.
Yes. And I'm going to trust you enough that if you're asking for a blowjob, it's not for nothing. There's a mutual respect there. He says in here that they sometimes 69. He still eats her, like all of this stuff, but also it is a playground. You're supposed to play in all the different ways, right? Like, I mean, we're aside from like more extreme stuff that maybe not everyone's comfortable with, but there's some pretty basic sexual things where you can change it up and keep it fresh. And the joy of being an experience is there's a whole world of sexual learning to do.
And even says in here, which we were talking about earlier, is about cleaning myself first. Like I would never, so the hygiene is not a problem.
Yeah.
but it does sound like, she doesn't move a lot during sex, so she's uncomfortable. So there's something that's keeping her from being able to like let down the guard. What is his fantasies? I mean, he mentions in here like ass play and stuff. Like that's elevated. Like that's very scary for a woman. Like the whole back, for many women, the back door. Did I just?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I'm just having fun over here. I'm like, she's really saying something interesting. We should focus on that.
But I do think that now I lost my train. Now I'm looking at myself.
Sorry.
I think that there's something that's keeping her from being able to really just, relax and let go and just be like, okay, because if she's not moving a lot or whatever, does she have other issues that are uncomfortable? Like, does she feel pain? Like that is hard to talk about. Like if you're constipated, you're going to feel pain. You're not going to want to have sex. Like there could be medical issues that are contributing, but the blowjob game, like to just stop after marriage, like it's just a no-go. Like that is
but that is what shocks me is exactly that. You've built the relationship leading up to the marriage on this being a part of your sexual playground, and then you just take it away. And I think that is men's number one fear of what's going to happen.
Well, and this is something that when I got remarried, it was a conversation. I mean, we talked about it all the time. We're like
in all of them.
This
always.
Of course, my husband is in the chat.
It's true though. He's not wrong.
He's and sometimes, as we were talking about in the beginning, you need that. You need a little bit of liquid courage, and maybe that just helps you relax a little bit. And that's okay. You don't want to be knocked out, dragged out drunk, right? Just a little, get the edge off so you can relax a little bit.
Well, alcohol is sex fuel. And, I think the other side of this is he would love to probably talk to her about it. He's probably not getting any answers or any real responses from her when he tries to talk to her about it. But girls hate talking about sex outside of sex for the most part. You and I are an exception to a lot of rules, but maybe a little alcohol would help with that too. There are all kinds of ways to play this.
And then you can try things like doing a massage, right? Like, men aren't always good at massages.
They're usually terrible at them.
It's like 10 minutes and they're like ready to go. I'm like, okay. Which I'm glad I turned you on that match, but a little bit of that, the foreplay for women is definitely different. And I do think that there's a bit of a learning curve there, and some men are really in tune to it, and some aren't. They don't know how to get to their woman. And most of it is a mind thing. Most of it is she can't get into it because you said you were going to hang those pictures and you didn't.
Right. Exactly. Well, I think that's a big part. And this is something that you and I were talking about before we went live, but I think it applies. Like you and your 7 roles, is a really good way to kind of look at this, because it is sometimes difficult to switch, from goddess mode when you've been in mom mode or in household mode, or, you've been cleaning, the house or doing laundry or what. And it's true. Like you mop the floor and the next thing that happens is someone walks through with dirty shoes. It's inevitable. It's hard to go from that mode sometimes to sexual freedom goddess and let's do it all and let's have fun. And
let's be honest, like during the day, you might say to your husband, like, I can't wait to rock your world later. Like, you might say it there in their head. They're like really looking forward to it. By the end of the day, you're like, I'm too tired.
Right.
I mean, I get that. I've certainly been there. And I've made that commitment before of like, I'm ready. And then later on, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just too tired. Like my son took it out of me. I'm not ready. I'm so tired. And he's like, I get it. Like, there's a bit of give and take, but you can't do that all the time. Like you can't keep saying, oh, I have a headache, or, oh, I'm, whatever.
Exactly. So, and we actually have Oh, she forgot. Let's go here. Okay. Oh, she
Oh, nope. This is the,
there we
she
go.
forgot.
Okay. So my wife was kind of teasing me today, saying how she wanted to do it tonight. So obviously that was all I could think about the rest of the day. And then, so his hopes are high. He's got these expectations, but let's see. So as nighttime came, I went to bed. She was already in bed with her phone in hand. So I proceeded to turn off the lights and turn on our little nightstand light, which, is kind of their cue. And I was he said he immediately felt like crap because it was so obvious that she had forgotten. And she said, "You're right," and turned off the light. And it was just like, done.
And this is the equivalent, I think, to when a woman says to her husband, "Hey, can you hang those pictures, or can you do this little project?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll get to that today." And then he doesn't do it, and then the next day, it's the same thing. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that," and then later on, she's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I understand it's not equal because they're different acts, but it sits in the back of your mind the same. Like
it does.
Is looking forward to, oh, he's going to hang the pictures. He's going to hang the mirror. He's going to do this. Oh, they're so excited. And then he doesn't. And then you're just looking at the pictures on the ground and you're like, why?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And like he says here, she keeps saying, "Well, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And well, of course that mindset, your attitude as the person being rejected or being forgotten in this case is going to alter your attitude. It's going to have a discernible change in your mood towards that person, whether it's the chores or whether it's sexual or whatever it is. We promise each other certain things, and I'm not 100% good at it, but I have rules that you don't promise stuff that you can't and aren't willing to follow up on.
Because it does that, the not hanging the pictures, with which my exceptional husband is wondering, like, no, he does. We don't have that problem. He always does all of the little projects. So none of that is sitting in the open browser tab in the back of my brain when we get into the bedroom. I have no unfinished stuff in the back of my head. But it is that it's a mind game with the women more. And all of those little things are open browser tabs that sit there and fester, and it creates resentment. And I understand to the man, to the husband, he's going, it's pictures. What does it matter?
Yeah. Why does it matter?
You're like, I picked the frames. I got the pictures printed. I framed the pictures. I found the place that I wanted them. I know exactly the height that they're going. I did all this work. Yeah. I just want you to do this.
Yeah.
And same thing with the sex. Well, we've been talking about it all day, and I couldn't wait, and I got so excited, and then it was like nothing. Same thing.
Yeah. And what is it? It's just sex.
It's just sex. It's just a picture.
Yeah. Exactly. But I do think that women are particular, and I say women, that's not even fair, because I have men arguing on the internet all the time with me about how unimportant sex is in their life. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's a shame. But second of all, the thing that people love to discount is the fact that is the number one connection that man and wife have, right? That husband and wife have, that they theoretically aren't doing with anyone else. And that's aside from, that being of interest to you. Like, but in a general sense, like, you can run errands with your sister or your best friend, or you can go to church with your mother-in-law, or your whatever the case may be. You can do all kinds of things with all kinds of other people. But in theory, the sexual connection is sacred to you. So
it's what takes you from roommates to husband and wife.
Exactly. That's where the covenant lies. And so if you're just kind of counting that along the, what is it? It's just sex. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna go to the next. Let's see. My wife won't have sex but she will give me a blowjob. Now, I actually have a client who's been dealing with this exact thing. Not to reveal too much because I adore this person and I want him to win in every way, shape, and form. But there are a lot of guys who fall into this kind of the sex is vanilla, but at least we're having it with relative frequency. You know, it's not rocking my world, but at least I'm not sexually starved. But she'll give a blowjob or she'll give a hand job, you know, when she doesn't want to get messy or something and have sex. And it kind of becomes the go-to, which is kind of what this guy's dealing with. So my wife of 16 years will not have sex. I try at least 3 times a week. And when I'm initiating, she shows no interest, nothing, no movement, no noise. She's like a doll. And after a while of trying to get her in the mood, she's like, I'll just give you a blowjob. Well, let me tell you, from my own personal experience, my husband and I had a little bit of difficulty around like when I would have a new child. Like me being pregnant just kind of freaked my husband out, as it does. But kind of bouncing back from that was always difficult. And it was kind of like that with him, where for whatever reason we could have oral sex, but once we got to like penetration, and this wasn't a forever thing, but once we got to penetration, there was like a mental hurdle that he had to get
Right.
over that a lot of times for a little while he would really struggle with. And it was the same kind of thing where I got to where I was like, I don't want oral sex. Like that's supposed to be the precursor. That's an appetizer. That's not supposed to be the whole show, right? That's not the main course. So, I mean, I've dealt with this from like the opposite perspective, and I know it's not it's not fun. And you hate to complain about any kind of sexual connection, but the reality is, you know, when you've kind of got expectation of one kind, um, you know, it's kind of difficult to change horses in your brain.
I I would be in a world of hurt if I had to give oral sex to get him to have an orgasm. Like I would be in a world of hurt.
Yeah,
There is no way
quite
that the
literally.
muscle, quite literally, and then my arms. There's no way. Like I would. Yeah,
But just think how tight your abs would be.
Yes, I might get a nice six pack out of it. But
you already have
again,
nice
the variety is part of the fun of sex. Is
exactly
is the variety. I mean, I know that blowjobs is kind of the theme today, but if you don't have the variety, you just get into what do they call it? Duty sex, or
yeah,
or whatever. And again, there is a bit of like I've had some certain parts of my life where some medical things where I couldn't do everything, and so I'm like, okay, well,
right.
I will compensate, just like if you just had a kid. You will compensate by doing one thing over another, or doing it, as the go-to for a small bit of time. And that's one of the reasons that I created the framework of the 7 roles framework, so that I would take time to think about each role. And when it got to Goddess, it's like, okay, am I making his fantasies come true? Am I his favorite porn star? Did I initiate this week? Does he know that he's desired? Like, am I, whatever. Like I want to think about it and be purposeful, because I know that if that goes down, if that desire goes down, if it will impact our relationship is done. Like to me, that is not acceptable. So that's one of the reasons it's a role, because I want to make sure and reflect on it every week to go, are my needs being met? Am I telling him my needs? Did I tell him my fantasies? Did I make his fantasies come true? And obviously we're all at different levels in our journey of sex, right? I remember talking to somebody who was trying to spice up their sex life, and we were, she was telling me a little bit about what their life is like, and it is pretty vanilla. And I had to remind myself, like, okay, like don't go to level 501, like
right.
keep it down here. And I said, how about trying a blindfold? And she was like, oh. And a blindfold allows a woman to like a little bit of anonymity, so that if they trip a little bit, or they, they don't see it. So you're like, okay, I'm good. You know, it's almost like giving you a little bit of a shield. You feel like, okay, they're not staring at me while I do this thing. And it's fun for the man, because then they're like, oh, where is she going to touch me next? Like, oh, what is she doing now? You know, it's
exactly.
And it was a little thing, but again, creating that bit of variety. If you just were like, oh, hey, it's time for my blowjob now, I'd be like, what fun is that? Like, I'm sorry, you're going to get some TMJ. I'm sorry. Your jaw is going to be. God. Exactly. It hurts just thinking about it.
I know. I'm like, oh. It's true. Well, and I think that you like talking about the meetings and talking about kind of like circling back and with every kind of notion that we've talked about already. I've been talking a lot lately about like building a marriage like you would build a business. Don't go into it haphazardly. Don't not have those talks before marriage about your expectations. Don't fail to kind of check in with each other throughout the week and have like a meeting, for lack of a better way to say it, about what needs are kind of still being left on the table. What can I do better, in all kinds of different ways, right? There are so many different ways where you would never build a business and expect it to be successful by just kind of going, well, this feels right. I'm just going to do that. And then not ever revisiting it. So the most important decision of your life, the person that you marry, going at it haphazardly without kind of having those check-ins like you're talking about, it's a recipe for disaster. It's almost like you're inviting yourself to get divorced. You're inviting, problems to creep into your relationship.
Exactly. And we meet on an annual basis. We have an annual meeting to talk about our 10-year goals, our year goals, like right before the year starts. And we sit down and we talk about it. And it's not all sex. That'd be a lot of goals. we need to go from 3 times a week to 5 times a week. It's like, oh my gosh, like cardio, holy cow.
And for you guys, that's more like from 14 times a week to 21 times a week. I know you guys. I know reality. He's under the desk right now, isn't he? You can tell.
It doesn't matter to me. Hey, now. I do think that there is, you're right. Like, you do need to check in. Like, what we do an annual, what are we going to get done this year? But yeah, if we have a dry spell, we check in and be like, okay, it's been too long. Like, what's going on? Like,
right.
For his job, he's been getting up and doing 5 a.m.s. And I'm like, well, he's tired at the end of the day. I've been getting up 5, 6 a.m.s every day, or, when I have my son. And it's like, okay, on those days, if we only have the energy in the middle of the day,
yeah,
then let's put it on our calendar and do the nooner. Like,
yeah,
just, because at the end of the day, you're so exhausted. And plus, the man is like writing 6 books and building an app. And like, I mean, when he gets into his zone in the evening, although everybody knows this, but when he plays D&D and I walk around with my shirt off, everybody knows that he's like, I can only last like 2 hours with him in D&D. And then I'm like, okay.
Hey. Yeah. I'm bored. Entertain me now.
I know, like, come on.
But I think that that's one of the most detrimental things that clients, customers, or husband and wife can do for themselves is leave sex until the last thing of the day. Well, everybody's fucking tired. You're tired at the end of the day. It needs to not always be the last priority if it's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you just have to understand where you're at in life, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you have little kids, you're not getting sex 3 to 5 times a week. That's very difficult. Like,
right.
You're going to go through these spells, but you have to be conscious about keeping your emotional connection, keeping the desire, the emotional closeness, whether you're just grabbing each other in the kitchen or passionately kissing, or it doesn't always have to be about this, crazy penetrative sex or whatever, but you have to make sure that you're keeping that connection. Otherwise, the bedroom it goes completely dead, and it's very difficult to revive. It's not unheard of. People
No.
do it, but
And it can be felt in all the layers that then go out from the two of you as being the foundation of this family, of this relationship, of everything. It's felt everywhere.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. I want to talk about this one because it's kind of interesting. My gosh, I don't know why this keeps doing. Okay. So this is pretty interesting, and I want your take, Sarah Beth. So this guy has a wife who self-reported had 4 partners before him, and 3 of them were in monogamous relationships. They were boyfriends. Of course, my running joke is always, they're boyfriends for one night at a time. But one of these was a one night stand, or a sex with someone that she wasn't really familiar with. She didn't really know, and that's for whatever reason what he's locked in on, and he can't mentally get past the hurdle. Like, when you run into, first of all, like, I feel like, what is your take on sharing that kind of information in the first place? Because not everyone is as sexually open as your man and my man are, right? Fort Worth and Noble Brown are like, yeah, let's talk about it. let's just dig into that right now. That doesn't sound bad at all. But there are guys who get hung up, and you've got to know.
Yeah, I don't. So, Noble and I have talked about this a couple of times, because every once in a while it trends on Twitter in regards to this, who you've got a past, you've got, your body count, or the people that were before you. And we both know that there was people before me and there was people before him. Like that.
What life existed before?
Exactly. Like, okay, so it was there. Okay. The thing that I think where we cross the line is when we start to do comparisons. Like, I've seen women who have said, oh, well, you're not as big as my ex. It's like, are you serious? Like, why would you say that?
Seriously.
Like some of the degrading comments that people say, or your tits aren't as big as my ex, like, okay, like, if that's important to you, well, then go be with her. Like,
yeah.
It's the comparison that I think is where it gets ugly. Neither Noble and I care about our pasts. We're like, okay, we were both with people before. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I'm either quality or I'm not. Take it or leave it.
That's a good way to look at it.
But I don't think that, I think where it's gotten a little difficult is the fact that some of the body counts are in the 3 digits, which blows my mind. Yeah. The joke growing up was, if a man gives you the number of how many women he slept with, divide it by 3. If a woman does, multiply it by 3, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but nowadays, women are like, oh yeah, 150, 200. I've got them marked in my phone. I've got them starred. I have a starring system. What?
Yeah.
Like that's that high mileage, that kind of, proud of like a 3-digit body count is, I wouldn't want to be with a 3-digit body count either. Like,
right.
You're kind of, going into this cave of nothingness. Like, what's nothing left to explore? It's just
quite literally.
Exactly.
A cave that 3 digits of worth of other explorers have already pounded through.
The whole reason why they made those creature cock freaking dildos at the store, like, they're insane how big they make them. They have to, because of, they're ran through. Some of these women are completely ran through. I wouldn't want to be, but that's for somebody, right? Like, I've certainly seen, strip club DJs get with strippers and be fine about it and be like, okay, yeah, they were a stripper, or they were with lots of people, that's fine. Or if you get with an OF model and you're like, okay, well, she's not going to do that anymore because she's with me. She wasn't with any of those guys. She just put her body out there. If you're okay with that, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got their level. You want a virgin, but you're not a virgin? I think that's weird. I think that's...
Oh, can we talk about that? I've really been on this one lately where, you know, where guys want to marry a virgin. Fair enough. Like I understand that, but they also don't expect to themselves be that when they marry. Well, who are all these girls that you're fucking? I don't know. I've got so many questions where, again, like the math doesn't math, right? I understand all the reasons why you would want to be with a woman who is virginal, who is pure when you know, marry her, that doesn't have any prior attachments. But we've also got the problem then. My biggest rub is, but then you want her in the bedroom to be immediately completely comfortable with you, comfortable with being nude in front of someone else when she's probably never been before, comfortable with completely trusting you sexually and being exploratory and all these things. Like, there is such a rub here. I want your take.
I agree. I don't think men fully understand the insecurities that women have when they're naked.
Yeah.
And that is not something that they personally did to a woman, but when you were a woman in the locker room and girls are mean. I mean, they just are.
Girls are mean in the locker room.
They are. And so they get insecure about being. It's not like they walk around naked in their house and they look in the mirror at themselves and think, "Oh, look at me, I look great." No, they don't even do that. So the fact that they don't do that by themselves, and then you're like, "Well, why do we have to have the lights off?" It's like, okay, well, let's compromise. Let's do the dimming of the lights. Like we have like those fancy whatever smart bulbs that we can make it like all different colors and stuff. So it's not so bright, so you don't see every little flaw. Like the red makes you look really, really good. So I mean, you men have, for some reason, like Frank could walk around. Noble, I called him by his first name. But anyways, he could walk around our backyard naked at night and be like, "Okay, look at me, I'm good." And I'm like, I got to get in the hot tub. Okay, you know. And he's just got that security, and men do. Although I know that they're insecure about things, being naked doesn't seem to usually be that insecurity, right? They're definitely more like in the bedroom, like lights are on, no big deal. That is a big deal for women,
right?
So that those steps of building the trust, okay, I'm gonna wear a negligee to bed. Like wearing a negligee for some lingerie, it is not easy for women. Like first they start with maybe the baby doll, something that's a bit bigger, and you want them to something a little tighter and you know, with the G-string and strappy straps and stuff. And okay, first of all, men, that's not easy to put on. Let me just say it's not easy to put on. especially when you're not sober, okay? My husband has done that to me. He's like, "Here you go, good luck." And it takes a while to get to that level of trust and security, and the men create that by saying, "Oh, but you look great. Oh my gosh, you turn me on and you look so good." All of that verbal reinforcement, it goes a long way. But yeah, it's the whole like wanting a virgin when you're not a virgin. I think that's weird. I think well, I was an OF model and I did all this stuff, but I'm not going to do that anymore because now I'm a perfect Christian. Like, no, no, I don't like that either. Like, you know, use that whole experience and bring it to the bedroom. Be the porn star that your husband wants you to be. Be, you know, fine, be the lady in the streets. But when you're in the bedroom, you should be his favorite porn star.
Right. Exactly.
And no one likes the P word. No one likes that P word. But whatever. I don't care.
I say, you know, you don't have to watch other people's porn, but you can make your own. You know, that's pretty fun. But
exactly, and it's more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I love it. We are not getting through many of these. We're not making good time, but we're having a fun time. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about this one. I'm going to remove it. There we go. let's talk about this one. Struck me as so odd. Is it normal to feel grossed out by your husband? And this one just got me all the way around. I mean, and it's not even like an older, okay. Ever since we started dating 8 years ago, I knew that he was into kinky stuff. It started with things that I'm okay with. He likes being dominated. I do not like the kink, but always played along for him. I even started liking a few things, like feeling powerful, but it's nothing I actively seek out. Anyway, nowadays he's getting weirder with his wishes. He starts wearing women's bras and lingeries, pretending to have female parts. Like all of this stuff, it's kind of turned into a more, we'll call it a more fluid relationship from his side. But then, we've left this 33-year-old woman feeling like a grandma, like, because this has gotten kind of off in the left field, so to speak, for her. But it almost does sound like she kind of got the rug pulled out from under her.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
Sounds gay. Like I couldn't, that would be a big turnoff for me. So I completely understand why she's like, okay, we did a little bit of it and, we experimented and then he just kept going down the path. Get his levels checked. Obviously his T levels are too low, or he's gay. But yeah, I'd be out. That would be a hard line for me. I have a difficult time being dominant in the bedroom, right? Like I just, even when I'm around my husband in situations, I tend to submit. Like I tend to be a little bit quieter and look for his guidance or look for his lead. To dominate him, like I feel like I've tried it a couple times, and then I was like, I can't do it. I was like,
You're like, oh, I can't.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Talk about women getting the ick. This is it.
This is it. Like I think this is why it's important to talk about your fantasies ahead of marriage. And it's not just like, oh, I'd like to try, a ball gag. Oh, okay. Or I'd like to try some candle wax. I want to dress like a woman. Oh, okay. That we're crossing lines of like sexuality here. Like I'm not attracted to men that dress like what, like,
right.
I can see that being a hard line. And you would have to say that as a hard line. You'd be like, let's talk about all the things, all the sexual fantasies. There's my hard line. Like, I'm not into water play. Hard line. Not into water play. Okay, great. I'm not into, the puppy and kink and the animal kinks and okay, hard line. Like, there's some weird stuff. Not that you have to talk about all of them.
I think people with hard lines like that, though, it's almost like it's so not even on the radar enough to say, this is my line.
You're right. It doesn't seem like you shouldn't really have to say that line. That's something that probably should just come up and be like, hey, I'm into this weird thing. And you'd be like, oh, I'm not really into that. Okay.
I'm not really into that.
You should be upfront though. This guy seems like he just kind of, I'm gonna land a woman, I'm gonna get married, and then I'm gonna show her that I'm a cross-dresser.
Right. Well, and 8 years together is a long time. That's like at what point did he realize this? I don't know. That's a lot. It would give me the ick also. It would gross me out also, girl.
I think that there's a lot of men that just their T levels are too low.
Yeah.
If they fix their T levels, things would get a lot better. But ladies, if he gets his T levels fixed, be prepared. And if you get your T levels, be prepared. Like I can tell when I haven't taken my testosterone shot. Like I can tell. It is obvious. Certain times of the month, it's obvious. He tracks. He's like, okay, I gotta be ready.
That's right. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well,
this was so fun.
I know. I love it.
So much stuff out there in the good old Reddit sphere. There's a good amount of reaction stuff. So we definitely should do this again.
There's so much to dive into. There's more than we could ever cover, but I challenge us to attempt it.
Let's do it. Yeah, for sure.
I love it. I'm so glad we did this today. Okay. Where can people find you? Where do you want people to find you most? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm certainly on the Twitter, Sarah Beth underscore Mrs. B. That's really like my political kind of shit talking stuff. Like I'm all my 7rolls.club is on Instagram. So 7rolls.club on Instagram. That's where I put some of my videos, my garden updates, my chicken stuff, my, that kind of stuff.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad you're here. Go and have a wonderful evening. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.